Hi, I'm Chantel Rodriguez from Millcreek Township.
And I'm Jessica Stutzman. Welcome to the Millcreek Government Channel.
We're excited to have Kim Thomas, Executive Director of Infinite Erie, joining us today to discuss the exciting developments shaping our region. Kim, welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Well, this is an exciting topic, Infinite Erie. What is it and how does it benefit Erie County residents?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a lot. So we'll kind of give a little bit of the background to the story. So several years ago, there was a group of community leaders that decided we need to organize better as a community in order to access resources at the public level, to leverage those dollars locally and to various other levels, and to really implement transformative initiatives throughout the region. So what we are doing, we're a community and economic development strategy. We are working to implement Erie's investment playbook by providing support to those initiatives that have been identified as those that will have an impact on the Erie community in terms of economic growth.
And it's fantastic. We were talking about this with Perry Wood as well.
Yes.
And I was telling Perry, I said that I am on the sustainability team
Yes.
for Infinite Erie.
That's exactly right, yes.
I'm very, very happy, that this project is happening and everybody is collaborating and sharing their infinite wisdom.
Yeah, that's
So-
exactly right. I love that infinite wisdom. And it's wonderful because you do see this cross-sector collaboration that, in my mind, and Perry may have said it as well, truly does feel unprecedented in our community. Really, leaders at the highest level, funders and others, coming to the table and saying, we are coalescing around this unified vision. Let's support it. Let's put our resources behind it, whether they're financial or otherwise, and let's really change the trajectory, which is currently in decline right now for Erie County, and reverse that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the whole gist of everything, like everyone is communicating with one another. They're working on the same goal, and it's really to invest in Erie and make things possible here, so we're not falling behind.
Absolutely. One of the things to that point, it's really about identifying what are the things that are holding us back, right? What are those complex challenges that, not just Erie, but so many communities face, but what are we being held back by as a community that's preventing us from going in that growth direction? So by doing that, working with those who are working day-to-day boots on the ground to say, these are the challenges, let's identify some best practice solutions, and let's figure out a way to implement ththose locally.
Yeah, and I think anytime that a group of folks can agree on the same thing is just icing on the top.
That's absolutely right. Yes, talking working in the same direction is pivotal in this work.
And how many times have we seen things get misconstrued by an email, or I found out in the news versus instead of hearing it from you first. And
That's right.
I think it brings those people together to have those conversations and to not have something be taken out of context.
That's right. You learn from one another. You find out what everybody's working on, what everybody, in terms of their goals and their strategies, and what they are prioritizing amongst their bodies of work. And having those conversations and figuring out a way and realizing, hey, we're all working toward the same goal. Let's do it together.
Yeah, and I think Infinite Erie, again, is rooted in turning plans into action.
That's right.
So what are some of the Infinite Erie's 2024 accomplishments? I know we're in 2025, but can you go over exactly all that you guys did?
Sure, absolutely. It was a lot. But yes, so we are really focused on putting plans into action. We recognize that a number of plans, more than a dozen strategic plans have been developed over probably the past 5 to 10 years.
Wow.
So this is not another plan. It's how can we put these plans into action. And 2024 was a very busy year. We were finally gaining some traction and figuring out our space in the community and economic development ecosystem. We work in 4 verticals of project portfolios. So neighborhoods and main streets, inclusive entrepreneurship, industry clusters and infrastructure, and anchor investments in the greater core. A lot of our work has really moved toward the neighborhood and main streets portfolio, although we're doing significant work in all of them. So in that, one of the prime successes that I think that we saw in 2024 was seeing the construction trades training program expanded. It's a program that is supported by the Erie Center for Arts and Technology, ECAT, and it was an expansion to bring on Build CDC as a partner and to provide on-the-job training for those individuals who are in that program. And it seen as such a success for a couple of reasons. One, when we started convening these practitioners and they said, okay, it's great if we can bring millions of dollars into the community to do home rehabs and repairs and things of that nature and really improve the infrastructure for our families that we serve, we don't have the construction workers and the contractors to actually utilize those resources and do the work. So that's where this project was born. It was that challenge that was identified. How can we overcome it? And as a result, we have the funders who come in behind it and invest in that to expand it. So the Erie Community Foundation, ECRA, and Erie Insurance, all seeing the value in expanding that program to provide the on-the-job training. So now we have this pipeline of skilled workforce that can go and do these projects, and we have homes that are actually realizing the resources and seeing those home repairs. So that was a really big success for us in 2024. Aside from that, really just working to move the needle on home ownership, working with Erie's Black Wall Street, working with our inclusive entrepreneurship portfolio to further some of their initiatives that they have within that portfolio. Anchor investments in the greater core. We've certainly seen the progress with Ironworks Square, significant redevelopment assistance capital program dollars coming in for some of those projects. Grow Erie at Savacchio Park with the Minority Community Investment Coalition, just really seeing the fruits of our labor. Eastside Renaissance working really hand in hand with them to ensure that all of these organizations have the capacity that's needed to get projects to where they're investment ready. And those are just a few examples. I know it's a lot, but a few examples of some of the successes we saw in 2024.
Yeah, and I just want to read this off because I think it's so impressive. The current projects you're supporting, if fully implemented, will generate $500 million of economic impact, support and sustain over 3,500 jobs, and contribute to $21 million to the state and local tax base, putting money directly back in the community.
That's exactly right. And to be
Wow.
able to see those numbers, and they're real numbers, and
Yeah.
those are just numbers that are associated with the construction of these projects. That does not take into account the added value that will come years from now as programs are being implemented and lives are being changed. So it was really important for us to take a look from that economic impact standpoint to be able to share with the funders and the project leads. And it also adds that additional capacity that we're looking to add for these project leads so that they can have this information when they're going after competitive resources and really make the case for the impact of their projects.
And it is just it's staggering. And again, we had conversations with Perry earlier, but just that you're investing in the community, but you're investing in people.
Yes.
And that's so important to keep people in our community connected to each other. I feel like that has been the theme of the entire day today.
It has.
is community connection and just fostering this sense of Erie County is home, and it's the place you want to be, and it's gonna under programs like these, it's going to grow and thrive, and big changes are happening.
Yeah, we're focused on people, place, prosperity. We're focused a lot on economic mobility right now and access to childcare, access to housing, quality, affordable housing, and what is going to make the quality of life better for people in Erie County. And as a result of that, that's growing our economy, it's growing our workforce, it's attracting others to move into our community. So really, at the end of all of it, the idea is that we really hit these, what we call pillar goals. So in growing our population, seeing an increase in area media income, seeing an increase in GDP and things of that nature. So that's the big picture goal in all of the work that we're doing.
Yeah, and seeing some of this stuff too, the current projects identified and supported by Erie's investment playbook, if they're fully implemented, would generate $500 million of economic impact, 3,500 sustainable jobs, and $21 million to state and local taxes.
That's a lot. It's incredible. Yeah.
It's just seeing that, like, I know Erie has an amazing future ahead, so I'm really looking forward to grow my family here. And I mean, I've been an Erieite forever. I know nothing but Erie, but this right here, it just, to see it and to see where Erie is headed, I think it's beautiful. It's a really nice thing to see everyone working together to get the same goal in here.
So much opportunity. It really
Yeah.
is. And we're just seeing the momentum continue. And now, right now, at this very moment in time is the most important that we work to keep that momentum moving in the right direction.
Yeah. So speaking of momentum, what are the 2025 goals?
Sure. So we want to keep the momentum going, right? That's the big thing. I think from an organizational standpoint, we're really working on our structure and some of our processes. But as far as the community is concerned, really looking to convene our stakeholders more often and reaffirm what the priorities are that we should be focused on. So we know that if everything's a priority, nothing is a priority. And in terms of resources and staff time and things of that nature, how do we ensure that we're allocating that in the proper manner? So really working to try to identify, should we be focused on access to quality, affordable housing and access to childcare? Should we be shifting some of our work toward workforce development and ensuring that we have a comprehensive workforce development strategy for our community? So we're really looking in 2025 to nail down those priority areas and make sure that we are, in fact, as the stakeholders and the practitioners and the community see fit, working in that direction. Housing will continue to be a priority of ours. We brought on Wyatt Schrader, who has actually been working with Infinite Erie for a couple of years now on the permanent supportive housing initiative that's Housing First Erie. And we're really taking a broader look at Erie's, what we're identifying as Erie's broader housing continuum. So certainly the supportive housing for the unhoused individuals and families in our community, but also affordable housing, depending on what that affordability looks like to someone or to a family, workforce housing, really just getting a firm grasp on what the need is there, what it could potentially cost from a community-wide perspective to fill in the gaps in housing in particular, and then again finding those best practices to ensure that we secure the resources and grow that sector of the community.
I have, and you just mentioned Wyatt. I have a quote here. It is a community-wide responsibility to ensure that everyone goes home tonight to a safe and stable environment. And I think that's just such a powerful statement.
It is, and it's such important work. And Wyatt is phenomenal. And I wish he was here to talk about all the work that he's done in this space. But he's not an Erie, but he is very, very quickly becoming someone who is beloved by this community and doing phenomenal work. But it just really hits home. It was identified in the original investment playbook to develop a comprehensive homelessness strategy, and we know that it is so comprehensive. It has to be. So this is one piece of that, trying to overcome that challenge in this community. But we're seeing some really great strides, and that is a goal of 2025, is to hopefully see some shovels in the ground and some units for the unhoused populations being built in the city of Erie and continuing to grow that initiative.
Yeah, and speaking on 2025, you attended the 2025 budget address for Governor Shapiro. Can you briefly talk about what was in it? What does it mean for Erie County? Like what it all entails?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, as it relates to our work, and it was so just an incredible experience to be there for that budget address, to have an opportunity to join with the group that we did to really be the eyes and ears for Erie as it relates to what was coming out of that particular budget proposal. With the work that we're doing, again, the Shapiro administration has proposed $50 million to really help the Commonwealth overcome its aging housing stock, which we know specifically in Erie, we could probably use $50 million alone. So that's incredibly important. A lot of workforce development initiatives coming out of his proposed spending plan this year, as well as access to childcare. So it's really hitting on a number of fronts. And that's what's so unique about the investment playbook and the work of Infinite Erie is that, yes, we have identified these 35 transformational investment opportunities, but it's intended to be flexible and opportunistic in nature. And we want to ensure that while we're identifying these initiatives and opportunities for growth in Erie County, that it aligns with other policy and strategic initiatives at our local level, certainly, but also at the state and federal levels to ensure that we're able to secure resources to actually get this work done. So recognizing that the Shapiro administration, as we saw within the proposed budget, has its eyes and ears and sees that these are indeed priority initiatives, really helps us move in that direction as well. So we'll see what comes out of the actual budget when it's negotiated and voted on, but certainly a lot of great things within the proposal that could really help move Erie.
Yeah, and I'm looking at a little list here, and what it all means for the projects, for the community leaders and the stakeholders, and investments in our public schools, incentivizing economic development. You mentioned funding childcare. I mean, that's
Raising the minimum wage.
Yes, raising the minimum wage. Safe and affordable housing, legalization of marijuana, supporting PA agriculture and life sciences as a core of the economy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's really been hitting on that from day one. But again, within industry clusters and infrastructure and recognizing what some of these high growth industries are that we have within our communities and how we can, if investing in those industries, investing in the workforce and the skills and training of those industries can really see that economic growth come as a result.
Absolutely. That'll be interesting. On your website, it says that Infinite Erie is a convener. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's probably the most critical component in so many facets of life, but in community and economic development. So we are bringing together the public sector, the private sector, the civic sector, all of the nonprofit organizations, all of the individuals and organizations that are leading these projects, convening the community as best as we possibly can, so that they can learn, that they have access to information, that they have access to leaders, that they have access to information that is going to guide them in their work. So bringing those individuals, those organizations, again, cross-sector collaboration, bringing them all together to hear the information at once, to learn from one another. That's what all of that is. And that allows us to, again, work toward a unified vision. We're all speaking with the same voice if we're all coming together and working together in that way.
No, and I love that. Again, like the whole theme, I feel like today has just been a big collaboration, networking, and really making those voices heard. So the fact that Infinite Erie is doing that and breaking barriers, I feel a lot of people are really going to be excited to see what the future is going to be holding for us in Erie.
Yeah, I hope so. It's a lot of great work. So many great people doing phenomenal work. We're just trying to be here to support that and to help ensure that we are moving in the right direction.
Yeah, and does Erie County and by extension Millcreek need more representation in Harrisburg?
So always. I mean, everybody, we always need more representation. We have a phenomenal legislative delegation that represents throughout Erie County, in Harrisburg, and certainly in DC as well. But anytime that you can bring individuals and leaders from Erie into Harrisburg to be part of the conversations, again, it's not as easy as it might be for other communities, and certainly Millcreek does a phenomenal job as well. I mean, again, from the elected representation and otherwise, on all the initiatives that they're working to do. So yeah, Infinite Erie is working, really closely with Millcreek, and the Presque Isle Gateway District is a top priority within the investment playbook. So yeah, we always need to elevate those voices and elevate the impact of the projects and try to secure as much resources and that we can for those.
Yeah, and I feel like, this may sound silly to us because we're all from Erie, but I've gone to plenty of state conferences where I have to explain where Erie is,
Yes.
and I'm always shocked. I'm like, by the lake, we're by the lake,
Yes.
and I think again having that as the voice at the seat at the table, as many voices at the table as we possibly can have. Sometimes we have unique challenges maybe the rest of the state isn't facing, but we don't want to be forgotten.
That's
just
right.
because we're in the northwestern part of the state. And so, and I appreciate everything everybody has done to represent Erie and to push these initiatives forward. But I don't want to be lost, and I'm just always surprised, I guess, when people don't know where we are.
That's very true. But once they're here, they fall in love and they want to come back. But that's why it's so important for us to be, whether it's in Harrisburg or DC or other parts of the Commonwealth, to have leadership that is traveling throughout, telling our stories, that our legislators are telling our stories, because we have best practices to share just as much as we want to hear about everyone else's.
And we just talked about representation, but how does Infinite Erie work with Millcreek Township?
So yes, just as we do with other project leads, working to support the initiatives that have been identified as those that will have tremendous impact on our community. So again, working with the authority and others on the Presque Isle Gateway District, working to identify just to really have a firm grasp on what those plans are, what their challenges are, what their needs are, working to identify funding opportunities that could come to bear for making sure that this project makes it over the finish line, and really just whatever we can do. There are so many organizations that need varying levels of support in order to get projects over the finish line. So we're here to fill in where we can. We have a great crew of subject matter experts and consultants that we work with that provide grant writing expertise and grant administration expertise, all the way down to putting together complex capital stacks and pro formas and all of the things that you need to have a tightly secured, implementable real estate development project. So we work closely with Altair Consulting Group and Delta Development out of Camp Hill. So we have a really great team that's helping us provide the support. And Millcreek is certainly right up there where we're sitting with them, trying to make sure, we want to see the Presque Isle Gateway District and other initiatives get over the finish line. So where can we be helpful?
Yeah, and I think all of this, again, keyword, robust team. Like, it's just the amount of teamwork that you all are putting in, and I'm sure countless hours, to get all of these things done. So in our show coming to a close here, what is Infinite Erie really looking forward to in the future?
Oh my gosh, so much. Just to continue to see, the excitement and the bullishness and the momentum that we have going on. We certainly want to see more and more projects securing investment and getting over the finish line, and to really just get in a great cadence of where people are talking about Erie. I've always said that my greatest goal is that we are always looking to other communities for best practices. We're bringing in people from the outside that are doing incredible things. I want them calling on Erie.
Yeah.
I want them to say, we need to go visit Erie. We need to talk to the people from Erie because they're doing it right.
Wow. I love that so much.
Yeah, put Erie on the map.
Yeah.
I feel like we're there, where we're just elevating it a little bit more.
That's
and
right.
we have a lot to share. You're right. We have a lot to say.
Absolutely.
And we have done, like any city, any township, there are places where, we can do better or we can step up, but there are a lot of things we have done right too.
That's exactly it. Yeah, we learn from our own work and we can learn from others, but there's a lot that we have to give as well.
Wow. Kim, thank you so much.
No,
for
thank
being
you
with
both.
us
This is
today.
wonderful.
This
was a great conversation.
I enjoy it. I could keep going. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
and we
thank
would
you.
love that actually. If you could come back on the show and give us an update in 6 months, I
Sure.
think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, anytime. Let's do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much
Thank
again
you.
for spending your time with us here.
Appreciate it.
Viewers, again, thank you for being a part of this conversation today on Infinite Erie. I know that I have been involved with it myself, but I am so happy to share the mission and the vision that Infinite Erie has for the community moving forward. Again, collaboration and internal wealth of knowledge that we all have to share and communicate with each other is just at the forefront here. So again, I want to thank you for tuning into the Millcreek Government Channel today. And until next time, have a great day.